While everyone talks about the B series screaming to 9,000 RPM or the K series dominating swap scenes, there's been a V6 quietly powering millions of Hondas and Acuras for nearly 3 decades. Born in Ohio, engineered for America, and still in production today, this is the story of Honda's most successful V6 family, the J30A and J32A engines.
A new direction. By the mid-1990s, Honda found themselves at a crossroads. The American market was hungry for mid-size sedans and SUVs with more power than a four-cylinder could provide. Their existing C-Series V6 was adequate, but it was a 90-degree configuration that didn't package well in front-wheel drive vehicles. Honda needed something new, something specifically designed for the American market. In 1993, development began at Honda's engineering center in the United States. Led by Chief Engineer Koichi Fukuo, the goal was ambitious: create a lightweight, compact, cost-effective V6 engine family that could be manufactured entirely in America with local parts sourcing. The solution? A completely new 60-degree V6 architecture designed exclusively for transverse mounting. Anna, Ohio, the engine capital. Honda's Anna engine plant in Ohio became the birthplace of the J-Series. Opening in 1985 for motorcycle engines, the facility began producing automobile engines in 1986. Today, it's the largest Honda engine plant in the world, covering 2.8 million square feet, with the capability to produce more than 1.1 million engines annually. The J-Series marked a significant milestone. These engines would be designed in America, built in America, with American-sourced parts for American vehicles. It was Honda's commitment to domestic manufacturing taken to its fullest extent.
Design and architecture. In 1997, the J30A made its debut. This 3.0-liter V6 featured a compact aluminum cylinder block with a bore spacing of just 98 millimeters and a deck height of 235 millimeters. With a perfectly square bore and stroke of 86 millimeters, the engine displaced exactly 2,997 cubic centimeters. The J30A used two 12-valve SOHC cylinder heads with 34 millimeter intake valves and 29 millimeter exhaust valves, equipped with Honda's VTEC, variable valve timing and lift electronic control system. Unlike the dual overhead cam setups found in Honda's performance engines, the J-Series used a single overhead cam design to keep costs down and packaging compact, but VTEC ensured it could still deliver strong performance when needed. The engine weighed approximately 250 pounds in its complete form, making it remarkably light for a V6. A timing belt drove the camshafts, requiring replacement every 60,000 miles. Skip this maintenance, and you're looking at bent valves, as the J30A is an interference engine. The J30A variants. The original J30A-1 debuted in the 1997 Acura CL and 1998 Honda Accord V6. It produced 200 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 195 pound-feet of torque, which was later increased to 210 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. VTEC activation occurred at 3,500 RPM, providing a noticeable kick in the power band. But Honda wasn't content. The J30A4 arrived with new pistons, raising compression to 10.0 to 1, larger 35 millimeter intake valves, a modified VTEC system, electronic throttle control, and a one-piece exhaust manifold cast directly into the cylinder head. This innovative manifold design reduced weight by 20 pounds and shortened the engine by an inch. Power jumped to 242 horsepower at 6,250 RPM and 212 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM. The J30A4's achievements were recognized when it appeared on Ward's 10 Best Engines list for both 2003 and 2004. The J30A5, commemorating the Accord's 30th anniversary in 2006, pushed output slightly further to 244 horsepower while maintaining the same efficiency. Honda also developed hybrid versions. The JNA1 paired the J30A with Honda's integrated motor assist system for the Accord Hybrid, combining gasoline and electric power for improved efficiency without sacrificing too much performance.
Building on success. In 1998, Honda took the J30A cylinder block and increased the bore to 89 mm, while keeping the 86 mm stroke and 235 mm deck height. This gave them an extra 200 cubic centimeters, resulting in the 3,210 cubic centimeter J32A, displacing 3.2 liters. The J32A maintained the SOHC 24-valve configuration, but featured larger valves, 34 mm intake valves and 30 mm exhaust valves, along with new intake and exhaust manifolds specifically designed for the larger displacement. The performance hierarchy. The J32A came in 3 main variants, each progressively more powerful than the last. J32A1, the base version produced 225 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 217 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM with a compression ratio of 9.8 to 1. VTEC engagement occurred at 3,500 RPM. This engine powered the Honda Inspire, Acura TL, and Acura CL from 1998 to 2003. J32A2. Here's where things got interesting. The Type S version received new pistons raising compression to 10.5 to 1, improved cylinder head flow, aggressive Type S camshafts that were the sportiest of all J engine cams, and a modified VTEC system triggering at 4,800 RPM. A 2-stage intake manifold activated at 3,800 RPM, paired with a larger 68 mm throttle body, 36 mm intake valves, stiffer valve springs, and a sportier exhaust system. The result? 260 horsepower at 6,200 RPM and 232 pound-feet of torque across a broad 3,500 to 5,500 RPM range. This engine transformed the 2001 to 2003 Acura CL Type S and TL Type S into genuine sports sedans that could embarrass cars costing twice as much. J32A3. Found in the 2004 to 2008 Acura TL, this version combined elements of both predecessors with an 11:1 compression ratio, cold air intake, 2-stage intake manifold activating at 4,000 RPM, and VTEC switching at 4,700 RPM. Power reached 270 horsepower at 6,200 RPM and 232 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM. Though SAE testing changes in 2006 revised the official rating to 258 horsepower despite the engine being mechanically identical.
The numbers tell part of the story, but how did these engines perform in the real world? The 2002 Acura TL with the J32A1 managed 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.4 seconds and a 15.9-second quarter mile at 90 miles per hour. The Type S with the J32A2 was significantly quicker at 6.2 seconds to 60 miles per hour and 14.8 seconds in the quarter mile at 96 miles per hour. The 2004 TL with the J32A3 was quickest of all at 5.7 seconds to 60 and 14.4 seconds in the quarter mile at 99 miles per hour. These were impressive numbers for naturally aspirated V6 sedans of their era. The J32A2 and J32A3 could hold their own against BMW's inline 6s and Nissan's VQ35DE, all while delivering Honda's legendary reliability and reasonable fuel economy. The engines were smooth operators too. The 60-degree V6 configuration provided excellent balance, and Honda's attention to NVH refinement meant these engines felt as good as they performed. Whether cruising on the highway or accelerating hard through an on-ramp, the J-Series V6s delivered power in a linear, predictable manner that made them easy to drive fast.
The good news. A million-mile 2003 Honda Accord with a J30A4 demonstrates the engine's durability, with the current owners reporting only low compression and occasional misfires as issues. Stories like this aren't uncommon.
The J30A and J32A engines regularly exceed 200,000 miles with proper maintenance. The engines earned their reputation through robust construction. The aluminum block and heads were well engineered, the timing belt system was proven, and Honda's VTEC mechanism was already refined from years of four-cylinder applications. These weren't experimental engines. They were thoroughly developed power plants built to last. The not-so-good news. No engine is perfect, and the J30A and J32A have their share of issues to watch for. Rear main seal leaks are perhaps the single most common problem. While the seal itself is cheap, replacing it requires dropping the transmission, an expensive repair on the Acura TL and similar models. Valve cover gaskets and oil pan gaskets also develop leaks over time, though these are easier to address. Unstable idle is often caused by throttle body or EGR valve contamination. Simple cleaning usually solves the problem. Some higher mileage vehicles experience excessive oil consumption from worn piston rings or valve seals. The timing belt is critical maintenance. Honda recommends replacement every 105,000 miles or 8 years, whichever comes first. Because these are interference engines, a broken timing belt means bent valves and potentially thousands in repair costs. Valve adjustments should be performed every 25,000 to 30,000 miles. Automatic transmissions in 6th-generation Accords are known for slipping issues, with 355 complaints for the 2002 model alone, typically costing around $2,500 to fix. American-made alternators outsourced by Honda often fail before 80,000 miles, an unexpected issue for a typically reliable brand.
Naturally aspirated builds. For naturally aspirated builds, the J-Series presents interesting opportunities through mixing and matching components. A popular combination takes a J30A block with J30A4 pistons, adds a J32A2 cylinder head with its superior flow and aggressive cams, installs J32A2 intake and exhaust systems, then tops it with a J37A throttle body and proper ECU tuning with headers and a 2.5-inch performance exhaust. This hybrid setup produces 270 to 280 horsepower. For J32A owners, installing J35A3 heads provides the best flow, though J32A2 heads are nearly as good. Adding J32A2 cams, head porting, upgraded valve springs and retainers, and a proper exhaust system with ECU tuning can push past 300 horsepower at the flywheel. The reality is that significant naturally aspirated gains require substantial investment. Port work, upgraded valve train components, aggressive camshafts, and individual throttle bodies all add up quickly. For most enthusiasts, the gains don't justify the cost compared to other options. Forced induction, where things get serious. This is where the J-Series truly shines. On stock internals, the J32A engine can handle 7 psi of boost and over 400 horsepower with proper tuning. The factory bottom end is surprisingly stout, though attention must be paid to piston ring gaps. The J-Series experiences issues with stock pistons at high power levels, particularly around 600 to 650 wheel horsepower, due to piston ring pinching and butting when ring gaps are left at OEM specifications. This problem is compounded in forced induction applications where compressed air generates additional heat, especially when running higher compression ratios. For serious builds exceeding 500 wheel horsepower, forged pistons with proper ring gaps, upgraded connecting rods, and a built bottom end are necessary. Haltech, AEM, and other standalone engine management systems provide the tuning flexibility needed for big power. Supercharger kits offer a more streetable power increase. Companies like Jackson Racing and Comptech offered bolt-on supercharger kits that could push J-Series engines to 350 to 400 horsepower while maintaining good drivability and reliability.
A new chapter. Fast forward to 2021, and the J-Series story takes an unexpected turn. The Anna engine plant began production of an all-new turbocharged 3.0-liter V6 designated J30AC for the 2021 Acura TLX Type S and 2022 MDX Type S. The J30AC isn't derived from the existing 3.5-liter V6. It's a unique engine sharing only the 60-degree bank angle. The development team included veterans from the Honda Civic Type R and Acura NSX programs,
and much of the development work occurred at Honda's R&D facility in Tochigi, Japan. Engineering excellence. The J30AC features DOHC 24-valve heads with VTC, variable timing control, rather than traditional VTEC, a 9.8:1 compression ratio, and a twin-scroll turbocharger that delivers peak torque from an incredibly low 1,400 RPM. It uses a high-stress forged steel crankshaft similar to the NSX, demonstrating Honda's commitment to durability even at elevated power levels. The numbers? 355 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, and a massive 354 pound-feet of torque available from 1,400 to 5,000 RPM. This broad, flat torque curve transforms the character of these luxury performance vehicles, providing instant thrust from virtually any RPM. The J30AC represents Honda's commitment to the J-Series platform, now approaching 3 decades of continuous production and development. While the automotive world rushes towards electrification, Honda continues refining and evolving an engine family that has proven itself time and time again.
The numbers don't lie. The Anna engine plant has built more than 32.5 million engines since 1985, including millions of J-Series V6s that have powered everything from family sedans to performance luxury vehicles. These engines found homes in Honda Accords, Odysseys, Pilots, and virtually every Acura sedan and SUV produced in the past 25 years. Why it matters? The J30A and J32A engines represent something increasingly rare in the automotive world: engines designed to last. In an era of turbocharged 4-cylinders and downsized power plants, these naturally aspirated V6s delivered smooth, reliable power for hundreds of thousands of miles. They weren't the most exciting engines Honda ever built. That title belongs to the B-Series and their sky-high red lines. They weren't the most powerful. The NSX's C-Series V6 and now the turbocharged J30AC claim that crown. But the J30A and J32A were exactly what they needed to be: dependable, efficient, and powerful enough to move mid-size sedans and SUVs with authority. They proved that Honda could successfully engineer and manufacture large displacement engines in America, helping establish Ohio as a crucial part of Honda's global manufacturing network. The enthusiast perspective. The J-Series never captured enthusiast attention like the B-Series or K-Series 4-cylinders. Swapping a J30A or J32A into a Civic was impractical compared to a K-swap. The engines were heavier, required custom mounts and subframes, and the transverse-only design limited applications. Tuning support was modest compared to Honda's inline 4s. Yet there's a growing appreciation for these engines. As clean examples of B-Series and K-Series engines become scarce and expensive, the abundant J-Series offers an alternative path to Honda V6 power. J30, J32 hybrid builds, combining the best components from different variants, can create impressive, naturally aspirated engines, and forced induction opens up genuine high-horsepower potential. The Honda J30A and J32A V6 engines may not have the cult following of their 4-cylinder siblings, but they deserve recognition for their own merits. Born from Honda's commitment to American manufacturing, these engines powered millions of vehicles through decades of faithful service. They proved that reliability and performance aren't mutually exclusive, that an engine can be both mundane and excellent simultaneously. From the original J30A1 in 1997 to the turbocharged J30AC Type S engines still being produced today, the J-Series platform has endured for nearly 3 decades. That longevity speaks volumes about the fundamental soundness of the design. Engineers in Ohio and Japan collaborated to create a V6 that balanced power, efficiency, packaging, cost, and durability better than most competitors. As the automotive world transitions to electrification, engines like the J30A and J32A remind us of what made the internal combustion era special:
They represent honest engineering focused on delivering what customers actually needed, rather than chasing headlines with outrageous specifications. They're the engines that took families on vacation, hauled kids to soccer practice, and commuted through millions of miles of traffic without complaint. So here's to the J Series, Honda's unsung V6 that just keeps going. Born in America, built in Ohio, and still proving that sometimes the best engines are the ones you never have to think about. Until you want to, and then you realize there's been a capable, reliable, and surprisingly potent V6 sitting under the hood all along, ready to deliver smooth power for another 200,000 miles.